Hey crafty friends! Today I'm going to be making a sheetload of cards using the March 2025 sketch from Call Me Crafty Al. I will be using paper from Paper Rose Studios Butterfly Garden. I'm using the 6x6 paper pad and have chosen to work with this lovely floral paper with some small butterflies on it as well. The back side of the paper is a green and white striped pattern, and I will be using all 3 sheets from this collection. For the mats, I'm going to use coordinating green cardstock from my stash, in this case, Green Apple from Tailored Expressions. The card sketch can be found on Call Me Crafty Al's YouTube channel. I will include a link in the description to check out their videos for this sketch and many more. Before I start trimming the paper, I do want to make sure the paper direction is correct, and then I cut the paper into 2-inch strips. I get 3 strips per piece of paper. Last strip I cut in half at the 3-inch mark, and I take the other 2 strips and cut them at the 5-inch mark. I repeat this process twice more with the remaining 2 sheets. Those tiny little strips of paper that you cut off the bottom can actually be used on the inside of your card if you don't want to waste paper scraps. For the card mats, I cut those into 2-inch wide strips. Each strip is then cut at the 5 1/4 mark, which will then give you the mats for both pieces of pattern paper. I repeat it 5 more times so the mats for all 6 cards are done. Now I have all of my paper cut and I can work on assembly. I start with my stacks of paper, and I like to pair each mat with their coordinating pattern paper. This time my paper is double-sided, so there's the option of doing half the butterflies as long strips and the other half as green stripes. In this case, I wanted the focus of the cards to be on the butterflies, so my long strips are going to be butterflies and all the small ones will be the stripes. I take my double-sided tape and place it around the edges of my pattern paper. And then I carefully place the pattern paper in the center of my green mat. When I make cards using these sheetload sketches, I tend to use the assembly line method, where I finish each step for all the cards before I move on to the next. Of course, this is all personal preference. I have my A2 size white card bases that I'm going to be using for these cards, and they are from a stack of pre-made card bases. But if you have your own cardstock, feel free to make your own card bases. I take 1 of each size card mat for assembly. I have the larger strip on the left side and the smaller box will be on the right side. And it can be moved up and down or center if you want to play with the layout. I will be keeping all of mine in the center. Again, I take the tape on the back of each mat and place them onto the card base. I start with the large strip before the small one, and I'm leaving roughly about 1/4 inch from the fold, and I also center it to leave white on the top and the bottom. The second box will be layered on top of the first strip. This first card, I left about a 1/2 inch gap from the edge of the card base. Afterwards, I decided that was a little bit too much of a gap. All the rest I decided to make the gap a little bit smaller. embellishments, I am choosing to make all of these birthday cards, and I have some lovely sentiments from Paper Rose Studios that I'm going to be using. I have cut all the sentiments into individual strips already. I also have some butterfly die cuts that coordinate with this paper pad that I'm going to be using to decorate the cards as well. I grab a butterfly and a sentiment, then using some glue, I adhere both to the striped patterned paper. I have these fun little black butterfly peel-offs from Love from Lizzie that I'm going to be putting on under the striped paper. I'm using 3 per card, and I have tweezers to help me place these since they're so tiny. Each card that I made has a different birthday sentiment font and a different butterfly. I have kept everything as flush with the card as possible for easier to mail later. I was also not very picky in how I put the butterflies, so some are at an angle and some are more straight. Here is a look at the final 6 cards that I made. I enjoyed this card sketch so much that I made an additional 12 cards. I made 6 with blue butterflies and 6 in yellow. So in total, I used 9 sheets of pattern paper from this paper pad. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, check the description below for a link to this sketch. Thanks for watching, and have a crafty day. Bye!